2, 3.
Hello everyone, welcome to Axelerant webinars. I am Jitesh Khatwani, Senior Software Engineer, and today I am going to speak about how to develop a custom plugin in Mautic. So let's get started. So this presentation is all about custom plugin development in Mautic, enabling control SMS campaign with event subscriber. So what are the topics that we are going to discuss? So one is understanding the Mautic, what is about custom plugins, what is event-driven system, developing your own SMS Autoresponder plugin, examples of controlled SMS campaigns, best practices in plugin development, and at the end we will have Q&A. You can reach out to me. So let's start. Let's begin with what is Mautic. Mautic is an open source marketing automation platform. When I say marketing automation platform, means there is someone who will execute your task. Now this task can be segmentizing the contacts, running campaigns. That campaigns will run, sending emails, posting something to social media, sending SMS, lead nurturing, and whatnot. So this marketing automation platform will help you to achieve all those tasks that you have to do, manually. Now, why to use Mautic? As I say, this is open source. So that means you don't have to pay for any license. This is cost effective. Again, as it is an open source, so that now you can also customize the way you want with considering your requirement, which can best fit within your, your use case. Now, comprehensive marketing tools. This platform will allow you to create your own workflows within the campaigns. You can funnelize your contact. You can, nurture your leads, and at the end of the whole cycle, your business can scale up. Community support. Yes, definitely. Open source is a place where you will get the community support, and wherever you are stuck, you can ask for the help. What is custom plugin? So, plugins are installable packages. So let's say, for an example, if there is a requirement and you want to, execute that requirement, but that requirement doesn't come with, out of the box with the Mautic. So you write a custom plugin and you install that particular, package within the Mautic, and you can start executing. You can start, executing your requirements. That means that you can extend the functionalities. So let's say, for an example, let's understand about the Twilio, about the SMS campaigns that we can run. So now let us consider you have just installed Mautic and you are not extending any functionality. You are utilizing what comes with the Mautic, right? So now you have installed the Mautic and you have enabled the Twilio plugin within the Mautic. Now that Twilio plugin will help you, or there is one functionality which says, stop subscribing. That means unsubscribe. So that is only single functionality which is right now, for an hypothetical reason, we can consider that is the only single functionality available with the out of the box from Mautic. Now you want to extend, rather only unsubscribing, you want a response to be sent from your end to the contact. So that means that you have to write your own code. So when you say you have to write your own code, you have to write your own custom plugin. So it's not only extending the functionality, you can also have the capability to integrate with other third-party tools. So for an example, let's consider that you are running a Facebook ad campaign, right? Now, you want to capture the data which came through from the ad campaign in the Facebook to your Mautic. How you will do it? You can do it through custom plugin. You can write your sync functionality. You can map your data, which is coming from the Facebook, to your contact. And then you can, with the use of campaigns, you can nurture your leads. You can nurture your, contact with those data. Custom workflows. So for an example, right now, with out of the box, Mautic doesn't allow you to store the incoming message. But by creating an entity with your custom plugin, you can store the incoming message in your Mautic, and then you can also customize your workflows the way you want, and as per your requirement, it will get executed. Enhanced your user experience. Now, when I say enhanced your user experience, can lead to any user experience changes that you want. If you want to change the color of your Mautic admin panel, you can do it. You want to, let's say for an example, create a new menu, you can create it. So any changes that you want to, you want to accommodate within your Mautic, you can, enhance your user experience the way you want. Competitive advantage. Now, when I say competitive advantage, that means that if you are in an open source, market, so you are not depending upon any of the licensing, subscription that you purchased. That means you can develop your own requirement the way you want and the fast it can be developed. This will give you a competitive advantage against your rivals, against your competitors. Now let's go to what is event-driven system. So I am explaining event-driven system right now because the core of this presentation is about how to develop an auto-response, a controlled SMS plugin. So before we go into that, let's understand what is event-driven system. Okay, event-driven system is a software architecture paradigm where the flow of the program is determined by the events. So when I say flow of the program determined by events, that means that a program will go through each and every event one by one, and then it will stop executing it. So whenever there is an event getting triggered, you can write your own code, right? That means it is loose coupling. That means that no two events are coupled in order to run their execution. So you can write your own code at event A, and you don't have to wait that, or rather you write a code at event B and you don't want to wait, or your code that is going to get executed without waiting for the code which is getting triggered at event A. So that's how it is loose coupled, and it will help, in your requirement, it will help to scale your system the way you want. So this helps, loose coupling helps you scale your system and agility, and at the same time it is ease of maintenance too. Now when I say ease of maintenance, that means let's say there is one functionality which is coming out of the box, that is of unsubscribing and contact to, or adding that after unsubscribing, adding that contact into do not contact list. Now, I don't only want to unsubscribe, I also want a requirement in which I can, store the incoming message and reply back to that particular, message also. That you can do it via your custom plugin. You can write your own event subscriber, and then, you can go ahead with your requirement. Now, later on, due to some or the other reason, you want to remove that requirement, you simply either remove that particular subscriber class or the code, or either you uninstall the plugin. Now doing that, so the functionality which was coming out of the box is not going to get affected. So that's the way, it is easy to maintain. You maintain your code and the other code is not getting affected. So let's see how to develop an SMS Autoresponder plugin. So setting up a development environment, first thing, we need to set up a development environment where we would have all the files and everything would be, added there. You have to, either you can do it via DDEV or Docker, you can run your Mautic instance. Then you will create your plugin skeleton. Now that plugin skeleton will require one bundle class and another is that integration class. With that, you also need a config file which will help you to register or install your plugin, and it will help you to register your integration and bundle class. Now, let's go to the event subscriber. Let me show you what is event subscriber class. So here you can see I have created this plugin in which the one thing I was mentioning, this is the bundle class which is required. This is the integration class, which is also this is the integration class, which is also required, plus this is the bundle class. To register the integration class, we need this config file in which we will register this integration class, so that whenever you are installing the plugin, it will help you to register whatever the service, whatever the configuration you want. Now coming back to the event subscriber class. So I have written the subscriber class. Now what this class actually do? This class is built to send an automated reply when there is an incoming message. Currently, right now, I have made this as a static, but we can, change this thing to, from the configuration, we can, get the data and then we can send it the way you want. But for this right now, for the explanation, I just did with the static example. So what this class includes? So this class includes one thing which is very important is to get the subscribed events. Now, when I say subscribed events, you need to make sure that you are calling the correct event, because your code, which your logic that you have written will execute on that particular event. So that is very important for you to, decide which event you want to get triggered. The code should get triggered. So we are doing it on reply, and we are asking on reply event that you need to execute this particular class at the end. This number can be n number, but I'm currently making sure that it's 999, assuming that it would, execute it at the last. And then I'm writing my own logic saying that, my custom auto reply, I'm assigning this to variable. And as soon as there is a reply, this will send this content to the contact as an SMS. So as I explained, there is a subscriber class, there is a subscribed events, you need to decide which event you want to trigger the code. You have to write the handling methods. That is what I have shown, on reply, and then you do your own business logic there. Currently, I did it with the, static data, but you can use the service configuration to get the data dynamically. And then later on, you can, once your plugin is working absolutely fine, and then you can install the plugin. Now, the use case of controlled SMS campaigns. So there are typically n number of use cases, but I would be, giving you examples of couple of them right now. One is unsubscribe to not contact. Let's say, for an example, you are trying to reach to a customer and customer is saying stop as a reply. That means you should not be contacting them. So as soon as this is coming, out of the box with the Mautic itself in his SMS bundle. So as soon as as soon as a contact is replying with stop, Twilio will act and it will unsubscribe that particular user, and Mautic will also do its own part. There is a logic to get that particular contact listed under do not contact. Then there is another use case is that recover abandoned cart, where you can send your that particular contact abandoned cart link. Now this can be very personalized. You can send a personalized link to that particular contact through the SMS, and you can also ask them if they don't want to receive the message, or if they are interested in more of the offers and anything, you should be able to give them those tags so that they can reply with that. But let's go with the link here. So recover abandoned cart link, you can personalize and you can send it to the contact, where they click on it and they can go to the abandoned cart. But again, it's up to them, they want to purchase, but you are trying to get recovery from the carts which were abandoned by that particular contact. Now with that SMS thing, let's take another example, is that you are sending a welcome message to a customer, to a contact who registered very recently, and you give them a list of FAQs that if they haven't understand the process, how to use the application, they can simply just reply back with the query. And as soon as your Mautic will receive that particular message, you can send an automated response for that particular FAQ, the query that is there. So this is how you can also use this particular Autoresponse plugin for automated response to the FAQs. Now, To build a plugin, you also need to make sure that you are following the coding standards, because this will help you in order to make your plugin very secure, and it will be, kind of very similar fashion that everybody writes the custom plugin. So you need to follow the coding standards of Symfony, which is again inherited by the Mautic. So some of the coding standards are like, use small case for PHP variable. Now, if you are writing a, configuration parameters, you can use a snake case. Use screaming snake case for constant, like, that has to be very much in caps. Uppercase camel case for, enumeration cases. And if you want to see more of this kind of, coding standards, you can visit this link, which I have mentioned here. So for any questions, any query regarding, how to build a custom plugin, or you want to understand like, how we can extend the Autoresponder SMS plugin, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. My, ID is Jitesh Khatwani. Thank you.